Bonjour, Watcher. This is John Mega 45, and welcome back to the Brew of Grisaia. In the last episode, yes, we have escaped, and I don't know if it's a good end or true end, but a good end or wrong end. So let's see here. What I promises. At some point, I grew afraid of that chain to loss, convinced myself it was a curse, a punishment of sort. The more I started to care about Yumiko, the more I wondered if she followed the same pattern, and then they tried to take her away from me.
Kasami-kun.
Yumiko was trying to speak, her voice soft but hesitates. Reading the atmosphere, I answered before she can continue. Were you about to apologize again, Yumiko? Looks like I hit a bullseye. She lowers her eyes from mine awkwardly. I thought you cut it out with that.
でも、私のせいで風見くんに迷惑をかけたし、今もこうして気を使わせてる。
Yumiko, I interrupt halfway through a sentence with a slightly forcible tone. I decided to protect you, and you decided to come with me. There's nothing to be ashamed of, and nothing to apologize for.
風見くん。
Look, Yumiko, you're finally your own person now. So for now, moment, why not think about yourself? I imagine you got a pretty decent backlog to work through on that front.
そうよね。
Yumiko nods firmly. Probably came off as pretty pompous there, but those words were directed at myself as much as her. What's driving me forward right now? It's absolute truth that I want to protect Yumiko and do what's best for her. And underneath those clear feelings, there's a number of hazy emotions I don't quite understand myself. When I took her out of the play, I told her we do search for an answer. I thought it was a word Yumiko need to hear most of all those years involved, but I started to think that applies just as much as me. How about we play like this? Hey Yumiko, he did that one too. I can't allow my anxiety to make Yumiko uneasy as well. For the moment, I'm going to try and keep the pensive reveries to a minimum. The forecast called for rain, but instead we agree with a clear and beautiful morning. Now that the weather outside has too much effect on our current lifestyle, especially in Yumiko's case. Are these all ones you have finished already? I guess they're the size of a pile of hardcover books sitting at Yumiko's bedside.
ええ、もう読んでしまった後だから、風見くんが読まないのだったら返却しても構わないわ。
Yeah, alright.
何か気になることでもあったかしら。
No, I just was trying to remember when they drew back to the library.
そう？
Yumiko's currently a fugitive of sorts. Naturally, that restricts her freedoms of movement. She leaves the apartment mostly at night when few pedestrians are around, and only when I give her the all clear. The best majority of her time is spent indoors. But of course, she go crazy just sitting around here and all day long, so I take priority trip to the library to borrow her large quantity of books. Were these any goods?
ええ、風見くんのチョイスがいいのかしらね。興味深く読んでいるものばかりだし、退屈に感じることはないわ。
It doesn't sound like Yumiko saying that just for my sake, probably her honest thoughts. That said, spending all this time alone must be a little rough emotionally. Yumiko was on her own more than often than not easy when we were in the dorm, but she had a cell phone, easy to access internet, and above all, boisterous friends who keep things lively. By comparison, she only got one anti-social man from company in this cramped apartment. It's not even around for most of the day. There aren't many chances for us to do as much anything together. Got to start thinking about the next move pretty soon. We can't keep up this lifestyle forever. A decisive solution is going to be necessary. Not that much I really know what they look like yet. I suppose there's no choice but to cautiously also exactly keep this movement and piece together as a strategy. Huh? Except for my best pocket buzzes quietly once. Ever since the kidnap, it hasn't been doing much of that. There are many people who know the number. Most of them are back in Myanmar academy now, and I thought there is uncertainty enough not to go except in outright emergency. Under the circumstances, there's only one possible reason my phone will be ringed. Figures. Glancing at the screen, I nod myself and get to my feet.
出かける？
Yumiko doesn't know who he's from, or even that I received a message. Probably a bit disgusting to see me get so out so suddenly, for no apparent reason. Yeah, just for a while.
そう。
Ever so, at times I even could never ask where I'm going or why. I guess that's means she trusts me, but there's still clear shadow of unease on her face. I'll be back in an hour or so. Like the pattern on her hair, I try to offer a little reassurance. She must understand that I'll be back soon enough, but it's only natural to feel a little uncertain when your only connection to the outside world vanishes. I casually descend to the public stair and glance around the area as I enter the alley. After 2 quick left turns, I climb over the rest of the old guy's bed and make my way out to the shadow lane or to the dead end. This is a place I've scouted out before and it's a blind spot from pretty much any angle with a very little risk of being overheard. I lean against the far wall, take one last look around, then finally take out my phone.
どう？そちらは何か変わったことはない？
JB voice hasn't changed much since our escape. Same business-like tone as always. There's the only upbeat song playing in the background though. Sounds like she got her mini components stereo on. We're not exactly trivial, but at least we have our help.
相変わらずおじいちゃんみたいな言葉を使うのね。バイト先で言われない？年相応の喋り方しろって。
When did Ichigai start investigating in my readings research?
研究しなくてもわかるわよ。ひとまず冗談が言える程度には元気なようね。逃亡者の割にはだけど。
Jamie interspersed her retorts with every exasperated sigh. The incident has, of course, been anonymous news for her as my boss. The case office bears ultimate responsibility for their anxious actions. She temporarily demoted until the matter was resolved, and they went so far as to set out an internal investigation to determine if she was conspiring with me. In the end, they decided I add alone and clear Jamie's name. That's the only reason she even able to talk to me like this. Of course, I'm still using my untraceable phone with its encrypted connection for these chats. To be honest, a few hours of governing at the face wouldn't be really cut at this point, but there's no point worrying about paying her back until I stop running on the tab. Yeah, I guess I started to get the hang of this manual harbor. Anyway, why do I owe the pleasure?
いつも通りよ。風見雄二への説得。いつまでもこんなことを続けていても仕方ないんだから、早く投稿しなさい。それが身のためよ。
A tactic suggestion, but unfortunately I'm otherwise engaged at the moment. Should make your offer earlier.
あら、今でも変更は可能よ。キャンセルの手続きは私がしてあげるわ。
Sorry, but I'm not a big fan of changing host midstream. Let's drop the subject, shall we?
そういえば、ユージの部屋にあったサボテン。そろそろ虫食いにあってもいい頃合いなんだけど、どうなのかしら。あら、どうしたの？
Nothing, leave the cactus alone. I'm pretty sure it's insect free.
はい、了解。さっきの件、心変わりするようならいつでも連絡してね。それじゃ。
Jamie probably hang out on me, typically efficient start. I flee aside for shot. No movements at present there. The main meaning of that formulaic conversation lay in the music playing in the background. We have a simple system where the channel of song communicates some basic information. Today was Bossa Nova Hawaiian beat arrangement, meaning Ichigai's search will continue with no apparent progress, no immediate threats, but we can't let our guard down. Now and then it's been clear she probably no longer under surveillance, but Jamie's straight-laced military types with a powerful respect for authority. She's not capable of casually linking me detailed information. So instead she gave me a small hint using this sort of indirect method. I really had to, for one, of spare manner to grab this session when this all over. Seriously though, Jamie, what kind of question was that? A casual cry about my cactus at the end that took me by surprise. I never ordered such a flat in my life. It was a clear reference to a pricky noodle currently sharing in my room. And for a warm eater, that should probably go without saying. Well, it would be too strange to interpret it that way. Whatever the circumstance may be, I'm a man and Yumiko is a woman. With that away hand in hand, we live it together, it's not hard to see why someone imagines something along those lines. For a woman of Jamie and personality, it probably seems like a natural assumption to make. Still, the fact of the matter is nothing changed between us. It's a question of whether we're going to be eaten by anyone, and more fundamentally, I don't have a clear sense of how she feels about me. At the very least, I think she trusts me. Thanks to Jamie's unnecessary prying, I got a new question weighing slightly on my mind. The room slightly except for irregular cracking of our chopstick. Yumiko's never been the type of chattering on and on on why she is. In fact, she seems to make effort to be as quiet as possible on that table. Probably has something to do with that group reading of hers. I tend not to talk too much during the meals myself, but today's my silence is deliberate. In other words, instead of trying to make conversation, I'm focusing my thoughts on the matter for this afternoon. What is the greatest difficult thing of it? It's like something a middle schooler will be worrying about. That's a considering our very intimate living circumstance, the presence of absolute or romantic feeling is a serious matter. If I jump to mistake a conclusion, I could end up making him deeply uncomfortable in the one refugee she has left. I need to proceed very carefully. Still guess it couldn't hurt to ask. There's something I've been wondering about that seems tangentially related to the question I had. Seems like a good place to begin. Hey Yumiko,
何かしら風見くん
why are you still using my last name? Yumiko-Chan still stopped there where people shriek suddenly died inside. Why I opened eyes?
え
Not a complicated question, right? Just wondering why you never call me Yuji. I consistently using the intimate first name with Yumiko, but she's still going with Kazamiku. Is that implicit signal not trying to get any closer? Does it have some other meaning? Knowing that might give me an answer to the more sensitive question I've been pondering. Unfortunately, Yumiko appears to have frozen solid. For a good 5 seconds, she just stared at me. Finally, as I remember correctly, she begins to flop her boobs close like a goldfish.
いやそれは
The words that finally emerged from her mouth as far from the conclusive reply I was hoping for.
なんというかまだというかその
Staring down over there as she pokes it with her chopstick, she murmurs vague non-answers.
でもどうしてあなたは急にそんなことを聞いたの
Yumiko ironically pivots to a question of her own in an attempt to regain control of the conversation. Being honest with her at this point would probably be a mistake. No reason in particular, just a little curious.
Huh?
What's wrong? Were you expecting something else?
いえ別にそうではないわあなたはいつもそうよね
Yumiko's slightly flushed face pulls back to its original distance, her expression changing to one of restrained anger. The only she was feeling we had truly descended into a few miserable yellow chunks. And in the end, I didn't even get an answer to my question. That reaction was just too ambiguous. From one angle, it looks like Yumiko actually hiding romantic feelings for me, but you could see also interpret it as an attempt to deflect my interest. To be perfectly honest, I'm not the most perspective man alive when it comes to this matter. Analyzing Yumiko's feeling based off the conversation is far beyond my immediate capabilities. Quietly slurping down my meat sauce, I glance over at the young woman in question. She still got an irritable expression on her face. I don't quite understand the thought process, but is she displeased with me or trying to upset the status quo? I guess she is in disinterest for the moment. Then I even after turning out the light and sleeping under my blanket, I couldn't manage to fall asleep. Yumiko sleeping at my side as always, but as I watched her regular peaceful brain began to change slightly. Every once in a while, Yumiko grimaces and moans softly in her sleep. Maybe some sort of nightmare. Sometimes it sounds like she's trying to speak, although the words are intelligible. Don't worry, Yumiko. I gently touch her forehead and stroke my hands up through her hair. That's why she said to something like that. Maybe the word brought her some relief. My own feelings has been an open question to me for some time, but as I look down at Yumiko's face, I can feel something like an answer emerge. The girl's memory is special to me. That very desire to keep her safe has grown into something personal and affectionate. But that doesn't mean I'm going to push her to return my feeling. Answering that or ignoring that is just one of the many freedoms Yumiko's finally managed to gain. Jamie's malicious provocation nearly drove me astray, but originally I even considered the possibility of making a move. Still, who knows what might happen down the road. If the two of us stay together, I probably get an answer to these feelings eventually. I want to put an end to this fidgety lifestyle as soon as possible, but there's no need for us to rush when it comes down to figuring out our relationship. We trust each other, that should be enough for now. But not long thereafter, events to erupt that is somewhat unexpected turn. Human beings to act on the basis of reason alone. Soon I will gain a new appreciation of their undeniable fact. What? Desires are a natural part of life. Putting aside the basic craving for food, sleep, and excretion that help keep us alive, there's a whole range of secondary urges that at least possible contributors. Sexual desire is often called the strongest among them. As a fairly typical example of the male gender, I got a fair amount of lush go around myself. My previous employee actually went out of their way to provide us way to scratch this particular itch. However, when it comes to a female sex drive, my knowledge is somewhat spotty. It's long been said that men and women experience the sexual urges that begin with puberty in a very different way. And I've interacted with a number of females who seems at a glance forward lacking in such desire. Sakaki Yumiko would be one such case in a point. We've been living in one room for months now, spreading out our bedding only a few feet away from each other. But noticeably, she giving every indication of viewing me as part of the furniture rather than a member of opposite sex. It had been a long day on the job. After that, I went to the bed a little earlier than usual. Yumiko didn't have anything in particular to do either. She climbing the futon at the same time, so fast quite asleep. Can't fall asleep tonight for some reason. Although Yumiko was already breathing accordingly a few feet away, it proved very difficult to knock off my sleep. After a while, I closed my eyes and just pretended to sleep. There wasn't really any thought behind that. It's very common for me to have a trouble sleeping, and sometimes this helps. No reason to disturb Yumiko by tossing and turning around either. But the young woman in question abruptly sits up, full spread her blankets, and walks quickly off towards the bathroom. Yumiko returned quietly to the bedroom only a minute or so later. I lie quietly down, wide awake, waiting for the sound of her sleeping bag futon, which doesn't seem to be happening. What's this? For some reason, Yumiko doesn't seem too eager to get back in bed. I open one eye just to crack. She's standing especially listening with the offer to stay facing down at me. After answering her question to no one particular, Yumiko quietly lowered her arm to the floor next to me. Her legs splayed out on one side. Is she kicking? What's this girl thinking? I decided to keep breathing softly and allow her to think I'm unconsciousness. Hypothetically, if she viewed me as an enemy of war or some kind, this could be interpreted as a preliminary stage of an assassination attempt. I'm confident that it's not the case right now. Yumiko definitely trusts me. Let's say we take talking about a woman who tries to slap me the first time, and then they spend a good amount of time attempting to slap me in the past, but she's incredibly prone to especially in a violent way. Just to be on the safe side, I focus my attention only because without opening my eyes and wait alertly for a moment. However, what comes next takes me completely by surprise. She kissed. Yumiko swallows out of me, holds her breath, and something supple touches my lip. Oh! For a moment I thought it might be a finger, but there's no way it will feel quite this soft. The instant I feel her breath on my nose, I realize that she's pressing her lips against mine. A sweet sense tickles inside on my nose. What the? Seriously? Ah, crap! Unfortunately, I can't keep my this one straight here a little. Yumiko instantly jerks back. Yumiko stares down at me in an expression of absolute shock. I don't know what she's thinking, but if she's frightened enough to cut things off here, that's fine by me. Hopefully, I'll be able to sleep for now. What? Again? Once again, Yumiko presses her mouth against mine. And this time she's a lot bolder about it. What is she thinking? What is she thinking? Considering how things have been until now, this is just incomprehensible. I mean, this was say Amane. Hey, look at you just sleeping off peacefully. Brace yourself, be sincere and make sure you have some real nice dream. Would probably be the thought process, but right now we're talking about Yumiko. It's not to mention she got that sort of sadistic streak. So why is she doing this? Maybe she's just curious. After months of living together and intimate with a member of opposite sex, Yumiko developed an interest in sex. But the subject is too awkward to discuss, so she decided to try some furtive exploration. That's a fairly reasonable explanation. In fact, I almost hope it's true. Considering how bad Yumiko's unhappy past had weighed her down, seeing her act in such a human way would break to celebrate might be a sign she started to break down that defensive shell. Even as I pondered in these matters, the girl continues to mash her mouth against mine in an increasingly ardent fashion. Guess I got no choice but to call things to a halt somehow. Yumiko presumably believes I am still oblivious, but keeping up that charade at this point might give her the wrong idea. Normally speaking, anyone except the deepest of deep sleepers is going to wake up with someone kissing them this intensely. Feels bad but interrupting, but for sake and minds, the girls need to learn that she's playing with fire. In order to defend my dignity, educate Yumiko, and prevent any unfortunate physical reactions, I did not instantly take action. Cut it out. Turning my face away from Yumiko, I forcefully tear out our legs apart. Ah, cute! Cute! Flinching with shock, Yumiko jumps away from me. Her eyes open to perfect circles as it finally draws her that she's taken things too far. Her mouth trembles uncontrollably. It's a pretty pitiful spectacle. She looks down at me with an uncharacteristic expression of absolute coward terror, waiting to see how I will respond to discover her misdeed. Cut it out, Julia. Using every ounce of acting ability I possess, I continue mumbling in a sleep at her voice. Seriously, Julia, save me for when we awake, alright? I repeat the name clearly to make sure Yumiko catches it. And then I am very oblivious. I obviously fall badly or pretend to. It was pretty crappy performance, I understand that, but... What but? End the episode here. Continue next time.
セーブするわ。
My video are just for fun. Don't take heart, brothers and sisters, okay? Magic word time. Adios and famosa. It's still bonds and promises.